Grr, grr, grr. Biff, pow, zap, clunk, clunk, ouchie. Hey guys, I had a strange idea a while ago about designing a zombie head dice tower. I've made a zombie ring, sure. And my castle dice tower has been quite popular. But for something with the character I wanted, I knew I needed to collaborate with someone highly talented. So I turned to our buddies at Printed Obsession, and they were happy to help. They asked me for a design brief, and I drew up something highly specific and detailed. And I suspect they were impressed, as they never asked me for anything again. What you can see in the background now is actual footage taken from the design process, which personally I've enjoyed watching. The software package being used is ZBrush, and if you've had any experience with that, it's possible to figure out exactly what's going on. I've genuinely learned quite a few things just from watching this footage. With that said, I'm not going to show you everything here, but if you head over to Printed Obsession's YouTube channel, this video should be coming out soon. And if not, there are other great videos there that you can watch and learn from. Eventually, Printed Obsession produced this magnificent bust, and I've told you guys in the past that I can stare at busts for hours on end. Fabulous, isn't it? And do you know how to offend a talented sculptor? It's easy. If you're stupid enough to take their creations and start making changes to them. And yes, I'm that stupid. Whilst what Printed Obsession had done was very aesthetically appealing, I wanted a dice tower, and that meant I was going to do some tinkering. The tilting head looked great, but it wasn't ideal for spitting out dice, so that needed changing. I needed a tube through which the dice could flow. This meant that the mouth needed to be made much, much bigger. Well, I think that worked. It just needs a little tidying up. I was confident I could print this in resin, but I wasn't so confident about FDM. So I turned to our buddies over at Morgan 3D Creations, who know far more about FDM printing than I ever will. They kindly ran a few test prints for me, and whilst these were successful, they described the process as challenging, and that's not what I really wanted. It seems these recesses around the eye sockets, the nose and even the chin were creating support issues. It's a shame, as these are great looking features and are no doubt anatomically correct. But I decided to tinker and see if I could produce something slightly more FDM friendly. Okay, it's a complete bastardization of the wonderful work by Printed Obsession. And yes, some of the fabulous detail has no doubt been lost. But after more print tests at Morgan 3D Creations, the print went from challenging to easy, especially if you're using organic supports. Happy with my lot, I decided to print and paint a resin version just for this video. I used the Uniformation GK3 Ultra with their X13 resin, and I think he came out great. Now, to print this at the design scale, you won't necessarily need a large printer like the GK3 Ultra, but you will need a medium range printer like the GK2, an Elegoo Saturn, an Anycubic M7, that sort of thing. And if FDM is your thing, it should fit on most plates. Here I'm using Citadel Black Spray as a primer. It was only at this point that I discovered that whilst he stood up great, the design was a little unstable, and that's not very suitable for gaming use. Now, I suspect many folks will just print this model for display, but as I didn't fancy angry gamers hurling dice at me, I went back to both the resin and FDM versions and added a stabilising base. I took the opportunity to add the designer's name to this, and for vanity's sake, I added my own. But I'd already started painting this one, and the mood had grabbed me. So I reached for my dry brushes and added some tones. I wanted a traditional green-skinned zombie with a pink brain. It might not be realistic, but it is fun. And there you have him. Not too bad. I'm not the world's best painter, but I hope I've done Printed Obsession some justice here. I also decided to design a simple dice bowl. I curved the inner walls to help deflect the dice inwards, and most of the time, it works great. I hope you've enjoyed this collaboration between Printed Obsession and myself, and if you have, you'll be pleased to note that this little chap is being given away completely free. If you have access to the Leechy library, you'll find the resin version available directly from Printed Obsession. Otherwise, if you head over to Thingiverse, Printables, Cults 3D or Thangs and search for yours truly, you can find both resin and FDM versions available in supported and unsupported format, ready for download and to have fun with. And do feel free to share your painted versions out there, guys. And if you tag in Printed Obsession or myself, that would be great, as we'd love to see what you do. So lastly, I'd like to thank Printed Obsession for collaborating with me on this project, and also Morgan 3D Creations for their patient help in developing a stable FDM version of this print. And that's it for this video, guys. It was a little different, but I hope you enjoyed it. So take care, and thanks for watching.